Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry. Today, real quick, I want to talk about Kevin White. So, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say debate, but there's a camp of people that feel like we should get rid of Kevin White. There's a camp of people that feel like we should keep them. I just want to weigh in a little bit. Now, this goes back to my whole thing, as this is a draft channel first and foremost. And this goes back to one of my draft philosophies with bust. The word bust is thrown around way too often. And for me personally, the way I define a bust is really hard for me to call somebody a bust because, to me, a bust means you can't play football. And oftentimes, 9 times out of 10, when a player doesn't work out, it doesn't happen because they can't play football. Actually, majority of the time it's something to do with, their personality and off the field stuff, and then it does with something on the field. And so people that get drafted, of course, which is what we're talking about, more times than not can play football. And then there's a host of other factors. But talking about injury bust in particular, I've said before and I'll say again, I will never call a player a bust because of injury. Because injury, there's no ability there. Some people might be injury prone, and then of course there's people that have different medicals, of course, in their genetics, just stronger bones, stronger muscle fibers, all those different things. But at the end of the day, injury isn't something that a player tries to do. It's not something that a player can actively avoid and know it's coming. Some people that are in the best of shape, the most athletic, can get hurt. So it's nothing that really you can do to prevent it. All you can do is really do a lot of maintenance and whatnot. But, so in Kevin White's case, no, he's not a bust. If you ask me, I would never call him a bust. In particular, not just because of the injuries, but also because we haven't really got to see him play. And it interests me how much, not hatred, but how many people really are against Kevin White. And he hasn't played. I'm like, did you see something that I didn't get to see? Because I'm pretty sure he had like a handful of snaps in his whole career. Of course, you're angry that the pick didn't work out, but being angry at him doesn't make any sense. And he's definitely not a bust. So, because you can't tell me that he's good or bad when you don't know. We haven't had a chance to see him play. And I know we're in a reactionary world with sports, where people try to label you after half a season or one season, but after a few plays, that's insane. For all we know, he could be great. Who knows? But up to this point, we just haven't seen him play for better or worse. So, for all those people that are saying, he sucks and he can't do this, blah, blah, there's definitely, parts of his game that we could talk about, but the context is so, hard to put to it because in the NFL, we just haven't seen him have the opportunity to play. So to sit here and say a player sucks and you haven't got a chance to see him play is reaching to me in a little bit of a silly exercise to tell the truth. So as far as what we should do with him, so we're at the point where he's not hurting us against the cap as far as dead money if we let him go. And so some people like cut him. And I'm like, why? The only real argument you have is that you would like that roster spot. However, more than likely you're going to bring in another receiver. We signed 2, but especially with our numbers, we're going to probably bring in another receiver. Kevin White's not penciled in as a starter or anything. So is more than likely who we're going to bring in somebody else to be one of those lower tier depth receivers. And so, okay, that doesn't really change much. If we need roster spots, there's other ways to get roster spots. And at this point, we don't because we got one of the lowest number of men on our rosters in the league. So that's not an issue. So the only reason you're talking about cutting him is just because you don't like him. And that, to me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you got to give him a chance. Again, it'd be one thing if he played a season and he looked completely out of, out of his league in the NFL. Then he got hurt and kept getting hurt and we didn't see him again. That'd be different. But we didn't get to see him do anything. And then the fact of the matter is he is an incredible athlete. You know, you can't mix any bones about that. He's an incredible athlete. And so at the end of the day, even if you don't have that much skill, incredible athletes have a chance to do things in the game of football. And so for us to let somebody go that isn't hurting us in the cap, that does have a lot of natural talent, and we haven't had a chance to see him play healthy, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see what we gain by letting him go. And then I will, definitely be very forthcoming. I wasn't a fan of Kevin White. And I podcast at the time, so there's definitely archives of me saying that I didn't like Kevin White versus Amari Cooper. That was the big debate. I was not that happy when we picked them, especially. So I definitely have my issues with Kevin White coming out in his game. And honestly, in these years, I don't know if he's improved because I haven't got to see him play. So to me, I understand the issues with Kevin White, but I'm still sitting here saying we should definitely keep him. I don't see why we would let him go, and I definitely don't see why people call him a bust. I mean, especially over injury, when we haven't had a chance to really fully see him get a chance. So those are my thoughts on Kevin White. But want to hear your guys' thoughts. Go to the comment section. Start that conversation. Do you want to keep Kevin White? Do you want to let him go? What do we gain by letting him go? Go to the comment section. Like I said, start that conversation. Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around. Remember, stay up and bear down.